Okay, what's up, guys? I just got back from another walk today. Today is one of these like creativity juices day, and you can see my hat impression on my giant forehead. My brothers used to say I had a six head. I don't know why God gave me such a big forehead, but He did. Anyway, I want to talk a little bit about productivity, production, and creativity and arrangement. Now, I'm writing a song right now for Kathy Heller's 8 day challenge. Some of you are in that class, some of you are doing that challenge. And I'm doing two different songs. So I'm trying to create two songs in 8 days. Not sure it's going to happen yet. We're on day four. But I've got the first one going. The first one, I like where it's going. I like the feel of it. I like what's going on with it. But I'm running into the situation where I'm it's the same problem I always have where I get into it, I'm producing, things are going well, I've got a cool hook, and then I get kind of stuck. It's like I hit this weird plateau where I don't really know. There's nothing wrong with that structure, but I want to do something a little more creative. Um, I want the song to move a little bit more organically, and that's hard to do. It's hard to come up with that. So I have discovered a strange little phenomenon, and let me know if you have ever discovered this as well. But I've discovered this phenomenon where it happens sometimes when I'm lying in bed, usually at night, trying to go to sleep, and I've been working on a song during the day, and all of a sudden I'll start having all these ideas. It's like my brain goes into sort of a state of, I don't want to say hypnosis, but it's sort of a concentrated zone that I can't even put my mind around what it is. But I go into the space where I suddenly can envision the song. I am hearing things that I wouldn't normally see. And it's like I can control, it's like I'm a conductor and I've got the baton in my hand and I've got all the pieces of my song out here. I've got my drums and percussions and shakers, and I've got my horn section if I have horns. I've got my synthesizers. I've got my pads and pianos. I've got guitars over here. I've got voices. I'm structuring all these things, and I can hear where they're going, and I can just wave my baton, and they just suddenly move into that position, and suddenly I'm telling people when to come in and come out and what chord to go to and what where to rise and fall, and I can control the dynamics, and it's all just happening in my head. This happened the first time I used to try to work on soundtracks and composition. I did a little bit of that for a while, and I love that kind of stuff. I've always been a huge fan of listening to soundtracks. I think soundtracks are some of the most beautiful modern composers. It's sort of the Beethovens of today, or the James Horners and the Hans Zimmers and John Williams and all the big people. Anyway, I love how emotionally controlling or manipulative soundtracks are. They're really pulling at your heartstrings in such a way that really make you feel certain things. And I just love that type of manipulation that those composers have access to. It's just incredible to me. So I was composing something years ago, and I was lying in bed and I had been working on something all day, and suddenly in my brain I could hear the swells and the strings came in, and then the melody, and then the counter melody, and I've got some counterpoint coming in, and everything is just, and I'm just conducting it in my mind. And I know that sounds a little bizarre, but I when it happened to me, it was almost sort of a spiritual moment for me. And it happened not in front of my studio. It didn't happen with an instrument in my hand. It happened in my mind. The whole thing just happened. And it was one of the most amazing experiences. And since then, I've been able to recapture that again. It's usually, again, for some reason, it's usually when I'm going to bed and I'm in a state where all of my senses, my sensory input, my eyes are closed, I'm not listening to anything. I've in the dark. I'm not feeling anything. I'm totally relaxed, and my brain can just shift into this sort of otherworldly mode where I'm composing. Well, I've come to understand that that power, that state of mind, can be extremely, extremely powerful, and I want to tap into that more, um, because in that I find that I'm much more musical than when I'm in my studio. Like right now, I'm in my studio. I'm working on this production, but in my studio, I'm all about how. I'm answering the question of how. How am I going to make things sound? You know, I've got this written thing, and how am I going to transfer that into sound? How am I going to transfer this into sound? How am I going to make these two pieces fit together? How am I going to make these vocals sit well in the mix? I'm always answering the question how. I'm not really creating. I get out of that headspace of creating and doing the why. Why would I go there? What purpose would that serve? And that's what I'm trying to tap into more. And I'm working right now on doing that. So I've committed on this song to just get away and go for walks. And this is really out of my comfort zone. First of all, because I'm not really that much into walks, but there's something about walking and just relaxing. I don't bring my phone with me. I don't bring any technology with me. No headphones, nothing. Just put a hat on, put my sunglasses on, go for a walk. And this is Arizona, so it's freaking hot out there right now. But I'm tapping into that creative space by doing this. And I have to say that it's really helping me get into that zone. Now, it's not as good as lying down. Maybe I should just go in the other room and lie down. Maybe that would help. But I start kind of talking to myself and just saying, okay, in this mix right now, where would I want to go? Where would I naturally go? And I'm humming it in my head and I'm thinking, okay, oh no, actually the vocals wouldn't just come right back in there. I would leave some space before coming back in there because I want to feel what I just did. I just had this epic chorus. I don't want to rush right into the verse. Oh, that's enlightening. So what would I do right here? Okay, cool. Now I've got all these same chords going on. What if I transferred into this other little chord progression here for just a second and balance that with the rest of the mix so that things sound a little more organic, so things are varying. They're not just constantly in the same chord. And this song I'm working on literally has like 2 chords in it. So I want to do something different. I want a bridge that gets me out of that headspace for a few minutes and then I come back in. That'll make it more interesting. Oh, what if in the chorus I go into sort of a muted spot to where I don't just introduce the chorus in its fullness right off the bat? What if it's a little more muted and a little more conversational? And then that builds into a drop where it comes out of the chorus into, it's the same progression as the chorus, same instrumentation, but I go into this epic sort of drop where it's just instrumentals and maybe the words are just kind of popping in for a second and then the music's just vibing and then they're popping in and the music's vibing and then they all come out and I go into this cool verse thing. Now, as you can see, right now, what I'm doing is I'm orchestrating this. I've got my baton and I'm saying, it's like Mickey Mouse in that movie, Fantasia, where he's composing and the elephants come in and the umbrellas come in and the bubbles do this and and he's just orchestrating these images and it's so much more interesting because it's storytelling. You're telling a story. That's what I'm really trying to get into the headspace. I really feel like that is where my production always gets a little better, actually a lot better when I start to do that. Even if orchestrally it's not the most complicated part, because I switched gears, that's what makes it so much more interesting. Don't underestimate the switching of gears. A huge thing in sync music is people are always talking about, music supervisors and licensing agents are always talking about how important it is to constantly get different sections going so you're not always in that same section. They want different pieces of the song to sync their music to so that it's not all sounding the same. Even though it's a 30-second clip or even 15-second commercial, they want that. So those are my thoughts today. I wanted to share that with you. I'm going on 10 minutes now. I apologize if this is too long for you, but I think this is really important. And if you have any tips and tricks, please comment below. Always hit me up if you ever want to, if you have a question or anything. I love chatting with you guys. Also, check out my production course at the Triple Threat Artist if you want to learn more about how to produce music on your own as a singer-songwriter and learn how to produce music for sync. All right, guys, that's it for today, and I'll be in touch later.